What a damn shame. What a damn shame, right? Why do I have to talk about this? Why do we have to talk about this? Is this necessary? Is this really necessary? It seems that it is. It's quite unfortunate that this is a necessary conversation that the left has to partake in. That we somehow have to combat this dumbass image that the left just hates men. And whenever we say that hating men is bad, we're the bad guys. Somehow we're wrong. And this criticism is coming from... fuck. This criticism is coming from other people who claim to be on the left. Who believe that the ideology is solely about ignoring men's issues. Because somehow talking about things that negatively affect men means that you're supporting Nazis? Make that make sense. No, seriously, make that make sense. Saying that men shouldn't have to feel lonely or be lonely. Talking about the very real issue that men are disproportionately lonely. Talking about that is Nazism? That's anti-feminism? How? Do realize this is a feminist issue, right? Just simply, you do understand that patriarchy is the reason male loneliness is a thing, right? But addressing that is somehow anti-feminist, is somehow supporting Nazis. It's sussy to talk about things that harm men. How? Why? Why? It just doesn't make sense to me. It really doesn't. Because all of these things are and have been a feminist issue, a genuine feminist issue. If you really think that real feminism is when you ignore things that harm men, you're not a real feminist. You are fake. You are fake as it gets. You're not real. You don't care about anything. You only care about aesthetics. And I'm not being hyperbolic when I say that. I'm being serious. You don't care about anything. You only care about aesthetics. You only care about what sounds good. What makes you feel good. And I hate that I'm using this fucking, like, dumbass right-wing argument where it sounds like I'm saying feelings don't matter. But in this case, you're letting feelings get in the way of what's reality. Because why are men so lonely? Oh, well, easy, right? It's a patriarchal ideology that women are to be the gatekeepers of sex, which is a very sexist, misogynistic worldview, right? And this is perpetuated by society. This is not just men who perpetuate this ideology. Women also perpetuate this ideology as well. The patriarchy wouldn't be as powerful if there weren't women in society upholding it. Upholding its, fucking values. But you do realize that without intersectionality, we wouldn't have, black people wouldn't be involved in feminism. You do realize that, right? Because beforehand, a lot of feminists excluded black women from their movement. It's an intersecting thing. You ever wondered why when it comes to you do realize that this ideology that these issues do feed into systemic racism as well, right? When you talk about the perceived innate violent nature of black men, patriarchy is part of that because males are perceived to be more dangerous than females. And since males are dangerous, that means black men are innately barbaric, monkey, violent creatures. Because males are perceived as violent as dangerous, black males are especially violent and dangerous. This is a racial issue. This is also a patriarchal issue. This is not a controversial thing. This shouldn't have to be a controversial thing. But it is. Because the left doesn't want to talk about stuff. Talking about men's issues and things that affect men doesn't exclude women. It doesn't. Because people who talk about men's issues who are on the left are not downplaying women's issues. If you think that's the case, then what am I supposed to tell you? Then you're upholding patriarchy then. You really are. Because this idea that men and women are like innately opposites, innately enemies, and innately in opposition to each other at all times, it's patriarchal. It is. And the fact that like talking about men's issues means that's just automatically in opposition to women's issues. You're feeding into that narrative. You're feeding into that patriarchal narrative. You are. You're alluding to this idea that men and women are innately enemies, and men and women are incredibly different, and men and women just cannot coexist. Patriarchal ideology. It is. We do need, like, because a lot of what the left doesn't seem to understand is that there are a lot of lonely guys out there that are not exposed to actual positive masculinity. Like we need messaging that promotes like genuine positivity and teaches men what consent is and what consent looks like from a woman. And they don't have to be, and like actually approach like dating and sex and all of this from a much healthier perspective than what a Nazi would. Because we can't leave this gap wide open. Because if we do, then people like Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate will fill that gap and feed men lies that continues to perpetuate all of the harm done to society. All the harm, such as all of the sexual assault. Because Andrew Tate's ideology does lead to sexual assault. Andrew Tate's not the only one that peddles this narrative that women are second class and a woman's feelings don't really matter. What matters is what you want and what makes you feel good. It's not a positive message because he talks about dominance. He talks about being above. He talks about like how just all kinds of horrible shit that just inherently evil. And it causes men to think that this is how the world is supposed to be, and then they walk through life feeling entitled to sex because Andrew Tate tells them that essentially tells them that they are entitled to sex. And then when they don't get that, or when their coercive methods fail, which is rape, the majority of rape happens through like coercion in the bedroom. So when all their little coercive methods fail, all their like little alpha male tactics fail, then worst case scenario, they start molesting and sexually assaulting women. Young males need better role models. Young males need positive role models that'll teach them about good things like you should be compassionate. You should be empathetic. You should consider another person's feelings, especially a woman's feelings. Women are not the gatekeepers of sex. You should talk to women like they're humans and approach them like they're, a person. Don't treat them like a trophy. And if you want to have sex, I mean, don't think of it as an achievement. Think of it as like, hey, you want to fuck? And if she says no, then they should be okay with that. You shouldn't feel men shouldn't feel devalued because they don't have because they haven't had sex. They shouldn't. And people need to treat sex better than they do because it's not. We need to stop treating sex like it's some kind of video game achievement because it's not. And we can't let people like Jordan Peterson and Andrew Tate teach these boys that that's how sex is and that's how it should be, because it's not. Sex is an activity between two people. It's a consensual activity that both parties have to consent to. It's not something that you should value above everything else in the world. You're not an alpha male just because you've had sex or not. You all of that shit. Listen. If we don't tackle these issues that affect men from a feminist perspective, we're gonna fail a lot of young men. And the byproduct of that, if all of you feminists who care about trans issues, this does harm trans women. The reason why, how it does, and the way it affects trans women is the fact that trans women were born male and are socialized to be the way patriarchy says males ought to be. And the byproduct of that is they will repress their trans identity. I know this for a fact because I am a trans woman who has fallen for this right-wing Jordan Peterson trap. I used to think Jordan Peterson was pretty cool. Now I don't anymore. If you don't tackle men's issues, you will end up inevitably let a lot of closeted trans women fall for these Jordan Peterson traps and Andrew Tate traps. And that's it doesn't take a genius on the left to know that that is not a good thing. You don't want to fail all of these trans people. You don't. So, yeah. Please. Don't shit on people when they want to talk about men's issues. Because all of this is intersecting. It affects black people. It affects trans women. It affects everyone. That's what being on the left is all about. We should be caring about everyone's issues, and we should approach all of these issues. And we don't have to be... It doesn't have to be a Nazi thing to talk about this stuff. Alright? Can we manage that? No? Well, alright then. I can't say I didn't try. I know people won't listen. They don't care. They only care about aesthetics. Which is, unironically, a right-wing thing. All of right-wing politics is all about aesthetics. And if you're on the left and you care about aesthetics like that, then what the fuck is wrong with you? Seriously? Why? Anyway, I think I've said my piece on this topic. I don't have much in regards to this in general. I just wanted to say all of that. So yeah, anyway, peace out. I'll catch y'all later.